I think a really great example of that is one of the biggest growth wins we had last year in terms of trial conversion was just a simple copy update to our upgrade dialogues in the Canva Pro product. And the inspiration for that came from user research our content designer, Amelia, did with a few users. We just came away realizing that, like, you know, what users are telling us. We tend to keep them pretty concise and brief. You know, there's always a short version and a long version. I think as we get bigger and build a bigger product org, one of the things we realize is that documentation needs to be concise and as punchy as possible to cut through, because with 1,000 people, you know, there's lots of people sending around lots of things that are useful for lots of people to know. And there's sort of 25 to 30 product managers at Canva now, and many product teams. And so for these insights and research to cut through, it has to be concise. We try and keep those persona docs to be sort of one-pagers where possible, but then there's always, you know, deeper reading. You can actually dive into the research that went into creating that persona and actually read the verbatim sort of text of interviews and stuff like that. And that's obviously the job of a product manager to find time to do as well, to really build an intuition for who they're building for.
That's great. That's great. Yeah, like I just wanted just to check that, because I could be like, it's a 50-page document or it's like a 1-page document. And like, I like that it's kind of like simplified version, so everyone can just get to it and get the information they need. And then they got the context, you know?
I think it's horses for courses as well in terms of your organization and how deep your resources are. Like, obviously you always want to go deep on, you know, almost everything you do, but research is one of those things that I've found anyway in my career that it's almost one of the last roles that gets hired for as an organization scales. You know, you really have to have sort of deep pockets in your product and design org before you start to hire dedicated researchers. So what tends to happen up until then is everybody kind of wears that hat, and they might spend half a day, a fortnight doing a bit of research. So it's always scrappy. It's always just enough. But to be honest, like, often that's kind of all you need in a lot of cases to get the signal to make a decision or to push ahead. And then, you know, when the time comes when you're in a luxurious enough position to hire dedicated research, that depth of research is obviously super valuable then. But yeah, it tends to be do as much as you can with the time you have available.
Yeah, like I talk about it often. Like, customer research is like eating your vegetables, right? It's like, it's good for you, it's healthy, it's going to make you just run longer and run faster. No one wants to do it. But if you do it, then everything else is easier, right? And I kind of like to give that as the example, right? Like, it's like the fun stuff is like, you know, let's basically kind of experiment on a feature. That's fun, right? The vegetables is kind of understanding what the hell the person wants.
Do you know what? I get it. I really enjoy research. I think the bit that nobody likes doing is like, the operational side of it. How do we find users to talk to? How do we email 100 people and get like 5 responses and then book in calendar times, and then some people don't show up, and then type up all the notes afterwards? In the room chatting to a customer, that bit I absolutely love. The other bits are just so time consuming that it becomes prohibitively scary to even think about doing. And so I've found that people just shy away from it. But, you know, as a product person or a growth person, when you get in the room and just like spend 30 minutes with a customer, you just come out with your head bursting of ideas. You're just like, oh my God, I can't wait to get back to the ideas backlog and start dumping some of this stuff into it and thinking about how we can apply some of that. I think a really great example of that is one of the biggest growth wins we had last year in terms of trial conversion was just a simple copy update to our upgrade dialogues in the Canva Pro product. And the inspiration for that came from user research our content designer, Amelia, did with a few users. We just came away realizing that, like, you know, what users are telling us they're signing up to Canva Pro to achieve is maybe not reflected in the copy that we're using to sell the product to them. So just by, you know, sort of really understanding the way users are thinking and articulating their desires and repeating that back to them in the upgrade paths, they resonate so much more. They see themselves in it, and it lands so much more effectively. And we've seen like a pretty considerably large percentage increase in trial conversion off the back of that one copy experiment that just came from 30-minute conversation with a user. So it's super, super valuable.